So next up we have Richard McCoy, the founder of Landmark Columbus and Exhibit Columbus, and Ann Surak, director of exhibitions.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you? Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for setting all this up.
Yeah.
So Richard sent me a press release with the 8:30 start time on it.
Yeah, I thought it made sense. You start at 8:30. Yeah.
So we're glad he got us up and gave us all this time to do this.
Yeah. Well, thanks for putting it together. I think this is a perfect way to sort of kick off, a big day for us.
Yeah, what do you think's gonna, what do you plan for today?
Well, at 2 p.m., we're going to open the Miller Prize installations, on the sidewalk of First Christian Church, a building that's this year 75 years old and really marks a project in town that sort of started it all. And so we're going to start at the start. We're going to open all the Miller Prize installations, and then we're going to have a kind of parade that goes down 5th Street.
Okay.
And we're going to open the Washington Street installations, and then we're going to open more Miller Prize installations at the Cummins Building, and then we're going to open Miranda Lash's project in Millrace Park, and then have another party in Millrace Park. So we like to celebrate, we like to have fun, and this is a pretty great reason to do it.
Yeah, so the party in the park will be celebrating the 25th anniversary of Millrace, and we've collaborated with the Parks Department to have a really fun evening with live music, some food trucks, some beer.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you guys think so far?
I'm really amazed. We've been working on this project for a while. We launched it in May of 2016 as a way to sort of be ambitious and to try to reach up and touch the design legacy of this town and maybe catalyze new things to happen. And that's happening now, wouldn't you say?
It is. There's just a real energy to the city right now, and lots of people downtown walking around and just getting excited as well, just watching the public sort of start to interact with these designs that we've been looking at for so long is really exciting.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is going to gentrify Columbus? Is it going to become are there going to be 50 Neshies here in 10 years?
Well, I mean,
Building creative culture is not a bad thing.
yeah, I hope it builds creative culture. I think that having 50 Neshies, this is Jonathan Neshi, the designer. I think having more designers in this town could actually be a tremendous economic boost. And I think the interesting thing about designers, and particularly folks like Jonathan Neshi, is that they use often local manufacturers. And so it's not, a kind of elitist economy. I think there's a great breadth to the kind of economic impact that design can have and architecture can have. So I think it's really an ideal economy for Columbus. There's this huge legacy of manufacturing. There's a huge legacy of design. So if there's any Jonathan Neshis out there or furniture designers that are thinking about moving to Columbus, there's room.
Yeah, I mean, one of the ideas behind this was encouraging people that were making things to look at the local resources and fabricators and materials and use those in their design process. And so I think that's exceeded our expectations, and we've learned so much about just how much there is here and that can be made. So I think almost every piece that's in the exhibition has been touched by some sort of fabrication process in the area, which is really exciting.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Was that was one of the original ideas we had, right? Was to kind of get the fabricators involved. And how have you seen what are some of the success stories from that?
Well, I think that, as Ann said, it seems like nearly every one, and then has a fabricator that's involved. And I think the interesting thing is that when we launched the project, we wanted to focus on 3 core areas. We wanted to reinvest in the value of good design, which is a community leadership value in Columbus. And then we wanted to encourage innovation in fabrication, and we wanted to start a dialogue around design education. And so this is why we set up the exhibition the way we did. And I say we because I'm the one that talks about it perhaps the most, but Ann's the director of exhibitions, and then we have a really excellent curatorial team. And so we've been working together as a real cohesive team to think through these ideas and to think through how we can invest in those 3 core areas. And I think from a design perspective, I think you got to come see it. But from a fabrication perspective, you may not know that each one of those installations had either a local general contractor, had material locally sourced, had somebody help it, or had 30 volunteers help build it. And even this table we're sitting at today was designed by Aaron Schiller of Schiller Projects, and it was made right here in town by Notlet Fabricating. And so, I mean, this is a table that you would see anywhere in the world, but it was made right here in Columbus, Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah, a bit about this table. So a designer from New York worked with Exhibit Columbus and the library actually to build this, and he's going to donate this to the library as for whatever they want to use it for. And it'll be sort of an ongoing legacy of Exhibit Columbus.
Yeah.
And I guess speaking of that too, the education, the design education component is kind of an interesting area too. It seems like a lot of these kind of biennials and exhibits and whatever we call them, gatherings maybe, sort of are struggling in a way to figure out how to interface with the local community. And it seems like Exhibit Columbus in a way was reverse engineered in a way to kind of be totally integrated in the community. So I guess as far as the design education stuff, do you see it like that as something you're kind of leaving behind each time, building on that and leaving behind this education?
I think we'd like to. I mean, there's a couple things. One is you don't even know who will walk by something or experience it and then be inspired to do that in their lifetime. So there's that. But I know just opening the university installations, for example, talking to the principal at Lincoln Elementary and at Central, and then seeing hundreds of kids get to listen to older students talk about the design that they're making and how it's influenced what they want to do in life is really inspiring. So really taking that, the BCSE school system, which is fabulous, and sort of going in that direction where you're doing project-based learning, and then showing them what happens down the road in the future if you stick with it is really amazing. And then we have our high school installation, which I think is one of the best in the whole exhibition. So other students can see, what their peers are making and what they can do.
Yeah, but I think it's just right, and it's almost echoing what Karen was saying about this town. This isn't a museum of architecture. This is a living, breathing city that just happens to prove that if you invest in good design, that it pays dividends in the long run. But I'm glad that you picked up on the idea that this is really for the community. This is, I think we see Exhibit Columbus really as a kind of quality of life project. And so it's not, I wouldn't call it, a biennial in that way. We're not trying to explore a certain theme of the world of architecture, the way the Venice Biennale does, or even the Chicago Architectural Biennial. We're trying to explore what the value of good design means to Columbus. And so we built so much of it for the Columbus community, but we felt like all along, if we did it well enough, it would be nationally relevant, and that a lot of people would want to come and see it. And so that was really our strategy, is to just work on making it great for this community. And there's a long, the Visitor Center offers tours every day to view this community. And so we felt like, we didn't really have to worry about making, something that was for the outside. If we made it for the inside would want to see it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end our 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Thanks for visiting.
Thanks for having us.
And hopefully we'll see you more today.
Can we leave behind the field guide?
Of course.
Yeah, and there's this map inside. We'll leave them here at the front desk, but this will show you how to get around the exhibition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank
Thanks.
you.